Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope all of you are doing good. It's good to see you guys in the chat, and shout out to everyone watching on replay. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. It's good to have you here. And since I forgot to do it last time, I'm going to start off right away because it made me feel like terrible that I forgot to thank you all for the many ways you help support this channel. Thank you to my YouTube channel members. Look, we're not going to do any ad reads here, so I'm going to thank all of my sponsors, which is you all. So thank you to all my YouTube channel members. I appreciate all of you. Those of you who might leave a super chat, I will definitely pin those to the screen and read them tonight, and you become a sponsor of this episode. Thank you also to my Patreon supporters and my local supporters, which is a different site, censorship free, and you are going to see me on there for sure this weekend, where we do other content that we don't do here on YouTube. So thank you to all of you. And there's a Cash App as well down there in the description. And I appreciate those of you who use that as well. And by the way, supporters, we just put out a supporters video last week. I have 2 more that I have to edit. Some of it's some cool stuff that's unrelated to guns, but we're showing a cool gun in one of the videos as well. So stay tuned and make sure you guys are watching that. Available on Patreon to the YouTube channel members and my local supporters. So nice to see all of you. So I talked about a topic that I knew was going to be a little difficult for some last week. And no doubt, as I predicted, and I told you while it was happening, there was some people that got real mad at me. Some people that maybe we're still friends, but maybe right now we're not friends so much, if you know what I'm saying. And I started losing some subscribers, and I started getting a lot of thumbs downs while I was doing that stream. But I did get a lot of thumbs ups as well. And look, some people like some of my views on this. Some people don't. And that is what it is. But then on replay, the stream was just sitting there. It got like barely any views. This stream will probably get barely any views tonight. And for some reason, something about the topic was interesting to people. And the next day, it got like 1,500 extra views on replay. And not only did I gain new subscribers off of it, but I gained many more new subscribers than I had lost. Now, I'm not in it for the numbers. This channel's been, look, I've been under a strike for 3 months, and YouTube punishes you like crazy when you do that. It's just one of those weird things, man. Sometimes, you know, people like certain topics. Sometimes people don't. And I thought about it, and I was being very courteous, and I had some people literally giving me heck in the chat last week. And I was very calm about it. I was very reserved about it. And here's kind of how this is. We don't all have to agree on everything. But here's the thing. This is my channel, and it's our channel, meaning we all hang out together. But it's kind of like this. I'm going to be myself on here. Now, some people are like, whoa, this is actually him? Yeah, this is me, guys. I'm not in with Netanyahu. I'm not in with the Ayatollah Khamenei. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Muslim. I don't practice Islam. And I'm not religiously Jewish. I'm not culturally Jewish. I don't live in the Middle East. I don't live in Israel. And I'm a Christian, and I believe in Christian values. That is what it is. And while I don't condemn anybody else who's not, I have friends who are no religion at all. And we actually get along fine. And I have friends that are, you know, probably Jews. Some might be Muslims. I don't even know what some of them are. But at the end of the day, this is who I am. And this is my channel. And I'm going to try to be patient with people. I'm very patient. But if people hate my channel so much that they just want to come in here and stink up the place, they can get the heck out. And that's how I am with a lot of things. And I'm thinking about this synagogue attack that happened in Michigan just a couple days ago. And I'm going to give you guys some new revelations on that you might not know. And this applies to people that are in this country that shouldn't be in this country. People that don't belong here. Look, you can't even have a country without borders. We've spent large swaths of time. It's gotten a lot better under Trump's second administration. I'm not a fan of the warmonger Trump right now, but I just want to be fair just because it's best to be fair and give you my honest opinion. Trump's been doing a lot better on the border, but look, there's so much damage that's been done. And we find ourselves where, as I said in the last stream, this is a holy war for these people. It's been going on thousands of years. Nebuchadnezzar couldn't solve it. Although he did tear down the first temple, Solomon's temple. Titus, under the Roman Empire, leading those troops, the biggest army in the world, couldn't come in and solve this problem, obviously, because it's still going on today. And it's not dwindling down. It's not calming down. It's like, even though it's been going on thousands of years, it's kind of just getting started, actually. And you watch this stuff, and I watch a lot of these evangelical churches lately. And I watch a lot of these people, and I've been arguing with a lot of my evangelical Christian friends. Maybe I just don't have many Jewish friends. Maybe that's all it comes down to, but I haven't really even been arguing with Jews themselves. I've been arguing with my evangelical Christian friends, both online and in person and around town. And I'm like, look, Jesus prophesied that second temple would be torn down, and then he demanded it would be torn down. He went in there and did his best to cleanse the temple. The illicit dealings and shady dealings and money launderings, specifically it's cited in the Bible of doves. This was all written long ago. And I believe that the Bible is my sword, and I believe the Bible is the Word of God. That's what I believe. And I know some of you do too, and some of you don't. But I challenge you with this. Just keep an open mind on some of this. Because if you're a Christian, you believe it's a divinely inspired book. It's the good book. It is the path. It is the blueprint to become a Christian. Christianity being emphasized in the New Testament. But even if you don't believe in any of it, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you're polytheistic, even if you worship demigods, even if that was all of it, I would hope everyone could at least acknowledge that this is a historical account. These are books that were put together into the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. This is an anthology. This is historical documentation. And this stuff's been going on a very, very long time. And it's kind of like this. Look, I just keep hearing the words over and over and over again. And that's why I'm asking the question right in the title of my stream. Why do Christians have to support this war? And then I'm going to tell you why the 2A matters more than ever right now. Because it does. See, they keep saying, this next election's the most important election of all time. Israel's the most important country in the world. Ukraine was the only country in the world. Do you remember this? Ukraine was the only country in the world, it seemed, for a couple of years there. Now, if you just watch the news and listen to many, many people out there, Israel's the only country in the world that matters. Well, there's lots of hyperbolic stuff, and there always has been, and there always will be. But I'll tell you what, this country's in big trouble right now. This country has been a dangerous place for many people for a long, long time. And that's actually to be expected because freedom isn't free. But our country's been invaded by people that don't want to be here. That their views, in many cases, their religions, their philosophies, are not compatible with the American ethos, are not compatible with the Founding Fathers' general moral compass. Because remember, this Constitution and this government was only designed for people with a good moral compass. And yes, it was primarily based on Christian views. Now, the United States wasn't set up as a theistic state. It wasn't set up as specifically a Christian country. However, it was founded on the Christian moral principles, no doubt. Talked about time and time and time again. Not many Jewish founding fathers, actually. Quick trivia question. Count how many Muslim founding fathers there were. But we live in a time right now where this country's just been torn. This is no longer a homogeneous country. It's getting to the point where it almost seems like there's more people in this country that hate this country than there are people who actually want the Constitution back. Because we have to have rule of law to have a country. And the Constitution was set up as the framework, as the supreme law of the land. And it was amended very shortly after its inception with the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights. In my opinion, every time we kept amending it after that, the country kept slowly but surely getting worse, not better. But the Second Amendment, written right during the founding era, right by the founding fathers, this isn't like, oh, we live in America, so we happen to have this Second Amendment right. No, that's actually playing it off. That's not putting enough emphasis on it. The Second Amendment is America. The Second Amendment is one of the core fundamentals that allows us to have a chance at being free. Because it literally says so right in it, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. Meaning, if you don't have that, you are not going to be secure, and you sure as heck are not going to be free. Well, how are you going to accomplish that? Well, that's real simple. A small child can understand it. But most adults on the Capitol Hill, they either can't understand it or they just reject it outright, because many of those are evil, tyrannical people. And the Second Amendment was put there so we could maybe win this battle of good versus evil a little bit once in a while, and so we could fight off a tyrannical government. But how would you do it? It's real simple. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And right now, we're being told by so many people the only thing that's going to save America and the only thing that's going to matter in America is Netanyahu, is Israel. And I asked this question last week in this live stream, and I've been asking it to a lot of people. And some people can answer it, but a lot of people can't. But what is Israel, though? Is Netanyahu God's chosen people? Because here's the problem, man. I've got so many of these evangelical preachers right now. And I grew up in a Baptist church. I've actually spent some time in a Methodist church. Haven't been to church in a while. Haven't been to church in a long time, to be honest with you. And the longer I've been out of the church, the more I'm actually reading my Bible. And the more I'm trying, because it's always it's a lifelong thing. You don't just snap your fingers and everything's fine. But I've been spending more time trying to strengthen my walk with God. Talking to God through Jesus. Trying my best that my soul will be saved, because I do want to sit with the sheep at the right hand of God. I don't want to be with the goats. I don't want to be in a lake of fire. And I'm listening to all these preachers out there, and they're basically saying that if you're a Christian, you have to stand with Israel right now. I listen to this, I listen to that. They have different ways of saying things, but most of them are all kind of saying the same thing at the end of the day. Which isn't surprising, because we've heard this all before, because, the more things change, the more they actually stay the same. And that's why, for my strength, I lean on Jesus and I lean on God, because God is and Jesus is. All things will come to pass, and some things they wax, some things they wane, but for me, the constant is Jesus is risen. Not Jesus, well, in the past he rose, and no. Jesus didn't rise past tense. Jesus is risen right now. And I understand when you read the Bible, there were times that people believed that they had to pray in a certain temple to get to God. I'm not a biblical scholar at all, but I understand that basic premise. I understand that temple was torn down. Then they raised a second temple. People sincerely believed, and maybe they were right at that time, that they needed to get to heaven by praying at that temple. Some people are very specific with these things. If you don't believe me, look it up. And around 70 AD, Jesus predicted it was going to happen soon, and it did. Got torn down. And immediately, people said, well, we need to build a third temple. Well, as a Christian, I believe that Jesus is the temple. And Jesus said, I'll rebuild this temple in 3 days. Crucified on a cross. Arose from the dead. Is risen. I mean, look, Jesus prophesied it and it actually happened. They're doing DNA tests and trying to do every test they possibly can on a specific piece of cloth. I mean, look, I know I have viewers that aren't religious at all, but there's actually even a lot of scientific evidence that this stuff like really actually happened. Now, I believe it happened, but even if you don't believe it, this stuff happened. Now, I believe Jesus is the third temple. And since Jesus is, and always will be, we have our temple, and it's through Jesus. And I don't believe that you have to go to a certain hill in the Middle East that might currently be within the boundaries called Israel. But was it Israel when it was promised to Abraham's descendancy? And what descendancy of Abraham was it promised to, though? We're going to talk a little bit about Abraham. We're going to talk a little bit about several of his wives tonight. We're also going to talk about the descendants of Noah and the Canaanites. Because at the end of the day, why am I being told that for me to love Jesus, and for me to believe that Jesus is the Lamb of God? And look, guys, I'm a Christian. I'm not making any bones about it. This is what I believe. I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And I love Jesus. And such an immense love, you can't even really describe it in words, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Why for me to love Jesus and to try my best to walk down the right path, and I'm not even very good at it at all, okay? I don't think anyone's really that good at it. But to try your best, why do I have to support Benjamin Netanyahu? And why do I have to support their bombs and their guns in Iran, in Lebanon? Yeah, we're back in Beirut again. I think there's about 3,500 Marines on their way there again. See what I said earlier, man? The more things change, the more they actually stay the same. But all I know is Jesus isn't changing. He is. But I just keep being told over and over again lately, whether it's people telling me this directly, or whether it's people that I'm listening to, whether it's online, even on the radio. I don't have actual TV. I guess YouTube in many cases is TV nowadays. But so I said, you know what? When it comes down to it, sometimes you just got to look it up. Now, I enjoy preachers. I enjoy good sermons. You know, different people have their different favorites, but I actually really enjoy a good Billy Graham sermon. Now, Billy Graham actually did talk about these people, and if you want to listen to the excerpts of it from the Nixon tapes, you can actually hear, but he had something to say about this whole Israel thing, actually. But no, I'm just saying, I enjoy a good Billy Graham sermon, for example, and others. But once in a while, you just have to go back to the Bible and look it up. So while I'm being told by so many of my Christian friends, by these Christian preachers, and even by some of the gay, lesbian, wearing a rainbow flag Methodist ministers, read the Bible and see how much of an oxymoron that is, obviously. Don't get me started on a woman minister, yet alone one of those wearing the rainbow flag, but I digress. So I tried to find the verse in the Bible that says that I have to support the current boundaries as amended by all the different treaties, when the Germans were in there, when the Brits were in there, the U.S., when we've been in there for a while. And I tried to find the thing that said the only way to heaven is to unequivocally support Benjamin Netanyahu. Because, dude, it must be in there. And I've asked people, I said, why do I have to support this dang war right now? Why do I have to support this Epstein war, this Israel war? I get scolded right away when I said, this is not Israel's war. This is the war for what's right. And I said, why is it right? Why do I have to support it? Because here's the thing, guys. If you're starting to be suspicious that I might be a Muslim, no, I'm not a Muslim either, actually. I don't believe in Muhammad as a prophet, actually. Now, I will say, it seems to me, by reading the actual text, the Muslims do have a lot less disdain, actually a reverence for Jesus, where, and look, being a Jew means just so many things, okay? There's so many definitions. No one can define it. The more I keep asking what a Jew is, look, it's anything someone wants it to be the win their argument right now. But no, look. The religious text of the Jewish religion, as I've read them in writing, not only do they not consider Jesus to be a prophet, okay? They don't consider Jesus to be the Messiah. They don't believe in the Trinity. And I've actually read some writings that they actually want him to be boiling in some not so nice things, actually. So with all that said, to be a good Christian, I have to support the current nation state of Israel. Most of them are secular, by the way. Many are atheists, by the way. But regardless, it doesn't matter. If it's a certain plot in the Middle East, I have to support Benjamin Netanyahu because he's God's chosen people. And you believe in God, don't you, 2AEDU? I'm like, well, absolutely. Don't want to deny him, but I couldn't possibly deny. They're like, okay, well, you believe in God. This is God's chosen people. So I said, all right, let me look it up. I couldn't find anywhere in the Bible where it says Benjamin Netanyahu is God's chosen people. Now, some of my haters that may or may not be in the chat tonight, I don't know. I'm just looking right into my camera right now. No notes. I'm not reading the chat right this second, but I appreciate you guys being there because I will catch up and read it later. And I do appreciate reading it. So thank you for the good conversation. I couldn't find Benjamin Netanyahu in the Bible. Now, it does talk about Israel. It does talk about Israelites. However, there's Old Testament and there's New Testament. And it's not just as simple. Look, my immediate family is not that complicated. I have a beautiful, lovely wife. Her name's Linda. We have one child. We have a daughter. I only have one wife. I've only ever had one wife. I only have one child. I'm never going to have another wife or another child. There you go. There's my very simple, immediate family genealogy. For Abraham, it wasn't that simple, though, actually. And I said, well, is it Abraham's children with Sarah? Are those the chosen people? And they said, Israel is the chosen people. And look, I'm not denying the biblical text. It is in there, but I just couldn't find that, I couldn't find anywhere in the 1940s or 50s or 70s. I couldn't find anything in the 2020s. I couldn't find a map in a Bible that outlines the exact geographic location it is right now. I didn't see that it's the government of Bibi. I just don't see that in there. So I'm not being persuaded very much right now by people trying to make me feel guilty, like I'm a lesser Christian. I had somebody talk to me and said, I was out and out blasphemous in the last stream. Maybe. I hope not. I hope not. I try not to never be blasphemous. I have slipped up once or twice just in the last couple of years and used the Lord's name in vain. I believe that's sinful. I ask for forgiveness for that. But blasphemous? I look at the Israel flag. It has a very important religious symbol in it. It has the Star of David. Now, they want to say that it's not a religious state, but only when they want to say that. But then when they don't want to say it, then it's not. Look, this is so complicated. The more I try to get answers, the harder it is to figure it out because I get such a wide array of answers. And it's got two blue stripes. And it's like, well, what are those blue stripes for? Well, that's the rivers. Okay. If this is the religious biblical land, then why isn't parts of actually several countries currently right now? Why are some of these countries that are not Israel? Israel's not actually technically a country. It's a nation state with like these borders, but why isn't it God's chosen people that's from the Jordan to the Nile? Why isn't it all of it? Because biblically, that could actually be the best argument, but there's been so many variables since then, see? I talked about the first temple, Solomon's temple. It got destroyed under King Nebuchadnezzar. Jesus goes into the second temple. They turned it into a market. They've turned it into a den of thieves. They were using the temple where people were supposed to have a pure heart, trying to pray for repentance, pray for the sick, pray for peace. We should always pray for peace. There's times for peace and there's times for war. We much prefer peace, don't we? I do. I don't like to see people killing each other, but sometimes it's necessary. Jesus goes out and essentially fashions a whip and runs them all out of there violently. I hear all these ministers lately. I hear all these preachers lately. You just have to sit back and be lackadaisical. Anything goes, no matter what. Anything goes. Just tell your neighbor, it's great that you have a harem of husbands. And your neighbor's a man, by the way, in this instance. It's totally fine. Everything's great. Jesus loves everybody, so do whatever you want. Yeah, Jesus loves everybody. But Jesus hates sin. Jesus fashions a whip. It does a monumental cleansing of the temple. And then he says, this temple is going to be torn down. Not one stone will be on top of each other. I mean, it won't even resemble a pile of rubble, right? Not much longer. Jesus ascends at about the age of 30. And about 70 years after he was born of the Virgin, Titus comes in, his men, military, tears it down again. And I've had a lot of Christians tell me lately, well, if we want peace on earth, we need to build that third temple. And I said, yeah. Jesus said, I'll rebuild it in 3 days. He arose from the dead and is risen. Now, clearly everybody doesn't agree with me on this, but that's what I believe as a Christian, that Jesus is the temple. But there's a lot of other people right now in the Middle East where the second temple used to be, there's a dome on the rock. It's actually, I believe, the third holiest site of Islam. A lot of contention over this, actually. There's Judaism. There's Christianity. There's Islamism. And there's many, many other religions. Many others. But these are just not the same religion. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know how they could possibly be the same religion. And if you've actually listened to me so far tonight, I'm not being mean to Jews. I'm not being mean to Muslims, actually. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. Just getting sick and tired of being sick and tired of so much in this dang country we live in right now. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not even a libertarian. So I don't fit any of those niches. Now, I have a lot of friends that do happen to be Republicans, libertarians. I used to have a few Democrat friends. They just either went so off the wall that they don't want to be friends with me anymore. And some of them have left the Democrat Party per se. But at the same time, man, look, I reject all of this. It's all a false premise. It's a false dichotomy. It's a false trichotomy. I'm just I want the Constitution to be the law of the land. Stop stealing from me via taxes, because taxation's theft. Stop appropriating my money to Israel, or Israel, as Lindsey Graham likes to call it, as he's sitting up there drunk as a skunk, acting like he's the president of the United States. Did you guys hear these people? It's like, I almost wish I could call BB and be like, look, dude, I don't really think you're that good of a guy, but I'll still give you some advice because I'm trying to be nice. You need to stop sending Lindsey Graham out there to talk for you. Not a good look. You need to stop sending all these people out there for you. Because the more they keep wanting to stick up for it, the more it makes it look like they're literally crazy. Lindsey Graham, as he's slurring his speech up there on national TV. Sean Hannity's lapping the warm milk right off of his teat. I mean, these people are sick. No, I'm not a CNN fan. I'm not an MSNBC fan. I don't watch none of this. Fox News is nothing but propaganda. These rank and file Republicans are nothing but propaganda. These Democrats in Washington, these are sick, twisted people. All these people are messed up, man. I don't align whatsoever with the religious views of Muslims at all. Not even close. I don't like living less than an hour away from Dearbornistan. I'm real uneasy about that. I don't like that. I want my country back. There's a lot of people that don't love this country, and they shouldn't be in this country. They need to go back where they came from. And they need to get the hell out. I don't share the religious views of Jews either. And apparently now I'm finding out I don't even share the views of most Christians. I'd probably get kicked out of 3/4 of these churches around here right now. Does it come down to this? I'm a Generation Xer. We kind of don't belong. And look, I know all the generations have their problems, but we don't really belong anywhere. We're not hip like the new age, and we're not wise like the older generations. It's kind of a weird generation I'm in. But just kind of going back to the way I grew up and the way everyone used to talk. Does it just come down to everything's fake and everyone's gay? Is that pretty much just all it is now? Because like I said earlier, man, make no mistake. I wouldn't get along with jihadi Muslims like at all. And I'm going to get into that in a few minutes here. I don't get along well, at least in the context of religious conversations at all, with devout Orthodox believing Jews, because as soon as they want to deny the Messiah, and we start to have divergence very, very fast. Which is perfectly normal, dude. Like, of course, these are 3 different religions. They're not the same. But I am told by a lot of Christians, whether they're telling me directly or whether they're telling me on the screen that I don't belong anymore. I've been getting the impression lately Jesus is after me because I don't believe that Benjamin Netanyahu is the proper descendant of Abraham. And I don't believe Benjamin Netanyahu. Look, God loves Benjamin Netanyahu. I have no idea if he's going to heaven or not. I don't judge people. I believe there's one good judge, actually, and it's certainly not me. But I don't get the gut feeling that he's God's chosen person. I don't believe that Jesus was fake and Benjamin Netanyahu's the real son of God. I don't believe that at all. And I'm not even a million miles from believing that, actually. I'm trying to live under Jesus's laws. I'm trying to live under Jesus's commandment. Now I'm being told that I'm not a good Christian. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be the only one. That's why I wanted to talk to you guys about this tonight. I might be the only one, but I have a feeling I'm not the only one, though. Do some of you just believe like nowadays, or you've been getting the impression? Maybe believe isn't the right word. I want you to believe in your own heart. I want you to believe in yourself. And I want you to trust what you believe is true. And you're all going to have your own journey to find that out. And many of you have gone through long journeys. Some people have things figured out more than others. But I want you to trust in yourself, because here's the problem. Am I the only one out there that just feels like everyone's trying to make it like you don't belong here anymore? I'm like, what do you mean I don't belong here anymore? I'm a white male Christian conservative that wants to live in a country that was founded by white male Christian conservatives. What do you mean I don't belong here? I don't believe that Israel is the key to success for the United States. I believe the American people, and that America is key to success of the United States. And when we live in a lawless country where we're not following our Constitution anymore, and when we live amongst a modern day den of thieves that are stealing our money and misappropriating it to every woke agenda you could think of, and every darn country in the whole world you could possibly think of, countries you haven't even heard the name of. Look, life's short and then you die. You work your butt off in this country and you wouldn't have to work so many hours. And you could spend more time with your family if the government wasn't always reaching in your pocket and stealing it from you and giving it to everybody else. This country wasn't founded with an income tax. This country wasn't founded with women's suffrage. This country was founded on the white male landowner of good moral character. That's actually literally historically what this country was founded on. Now, I'm not saying we should hate everybody other than that. I'm not saying that at all. But who the heck are these people to tell me that a white Christian conservative landowner no longer belongs in his own country anymore? If it wasn't people just like me, this country wouldn't even exist right now. And of course, I don't mean they were just like me. I mean, people just want to be left the heck alone, want to enjoy the free exercise of their natural God-given rights, want to live in a country with law and order, meaning the supreme law of the land, the Constitution, with the government being forbidden in the Bill of Rights from even daring to consider treading on us. Don't tread on me. That's what a real American says. You know what? Screw the Middle East at this point. Let them fight. They're going to fight. They want to build their third temple, okay? There's a huge movement over there. They're going to build that third temple. Well, the Bible talks about that, actually. They need to build a third temple so the Antichrist can sit in there. There's blueprints about this third temple in the Bible. But I've come to no other conclusion lately that some of these people are trying to bring on the end of the world, actually. What else could it be? The third temple is required to fulfill prophecy. I mentioned it in passing in the last stream, but maybe some of you already know more about it than me. Maybe it'd be interesting if you looked it up. But they're working hard to try to make this immaculate, perfect red heifer. Have you guys heard about the red heifer? If it has one white strand of hair, one off color, if one of its strands of fur isn't quite right, it won't be enough. But hey, we live in genetic engineering now. I'm pretty sure they're trying to make red heifers in a test tube. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And I did have someone fairly recently, just a couple days ago, say, dude, you need to stop with the religious crap. You need to get the religion out of here. I'm like, dude, this is a holy war. This has always been a holy war. Yeah, there's money, there's greed, there's oil. But I just repeated myself, didn't I? Because the Bible says the love for money is the root of all evil. Actually, there was a den of thieves that had to be cleansed from the temple with Jesus with a whip. Of course, it's always been about money, the root of all evil, the love for money. Yeah. And why can't I talk about religion in my country that was founded almost exclusively by Christians? You don't have to believe me. I'm not, look, you don't like what I have to say? You think I'm blasphemous? You don't believe in God? You're like, dude, I can't stand this guy. I want to go watch a stream about the spaghetti monster in the sky. If that's the way it is and it makes it where you can't stand me, then go watch that stream. Get the heck out. Now, if you disagree with me, but you still like me otherwise, cool. Because here's the deal, man. I think a few of you guys disagree with me on a few things, but I still like you. I still enjoy hanging out with you, and I still want to be your friend. But if someone gets to where they have so much contempt, then it's real simple. You just leave. If people come into this country and they have contempt for the Second Amendment, look at the state of Virginia right now. Virginia, home of Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, that wrote, all men are created equal, and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And trust me, I'm already waiting for the comments on that. People love to come back at me. But he was a deist. Hold on a minute. He kind of was, but he kind of wasn't. And maybe if there's enough requests, it might be the most boring stream ever. We could actually talk about Thomas Jefferson for 2 hours. But Thomas Jefferson did believe in God, and he believed in natural rights that superseded government. So in the state of Thomas Jefferson, because remember, America is not a theocracy. America is not a Christian state, meaning it has a federal religion of Christianity. I'm trying to make myself crystal clear here. However, most of the states, the original states, did have a state religion. Okay? No, they really did. And most of the founding fathers, almost all, were Christians. Devout Christians, in many cases, Bible-thumping type. Like you have to cover your head when you go to church type. The women. Foreigners have come into this country all over the place. They've come into the state of Virginia. Virginia just passed an assault weapons ban. Introduced by a foreigner. Someone that doesn't come from here. Now look, there's people that come here from other countries that assimilate. And they want to be Americans. And they believe the Constitution is a good framework, a good law of the land. They believe the Second Amendment needs to be upheld and the whole Bill of Rights. And they come here because they want to be an American and they want to make it a better place. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. We need people like that. But the problem is, when you come here from another place, I don't care if your old country hates guns. I don't care if your old country violates people's natural right to keep and bear arms. You don't come in this country, and I can't pronounce your name, and now you're going to ban guns? No, this is America. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Love it or leave it. And that's your only two choices. You can love being an American, or you need to get the heck out. And it should not only be illegal to run, but it should be a crime to ever be in political office in this country where you're not an American citizen. And I believe the oath should actually be honored, and the oath should have criminal penalties if you violate it. When you say, I do solemnly swear to uphold the oath of the state of Virginia and the United States Constitution, and then you even introduce a gun control bill, that should at the very least, very least, be a very long prison sentence, but it should probably actually be a capital offense. No, you heard me. It should actually be a capital offense if you were to ever even consider as a lawmaker in this country. I don't care if you're in the city council. I don't care if you're a county commissioner, if you're a state rep, if you're a state senator, if you're in the United States Congress, United States Senator, if you're the president, vice president, the bureaucrats, yeah, they need to be broken into a million pieces and scattered into the wind, because we're not supposed to have a fourth branch of government. We're not supposed to have it where the fox is guarding the hen house. We're not supposed to have this shadowy government that's unchecked by everybody, and everybody fears them, because that's the definition of a tyrannical government. When the people fear the government, it's tyranny. So the bureaucrat state, gone. Don't need them, don't want them. It's un-American. It's unconstitutional to even have an income tax. We don't need these bureaucrats. Not only do we not need them, but they need gone out of our country. Now, back to these politicians again. I'm a nice guy, man. No, like I really am. I know I get on here. I rant about stuff. These are frustrating topics, but it needs to be said. And by the way, I just want to make this clear. I don't do this to get everybody down in the dumps. I talk about this stuff because I can't be the only one that's sick and tired of this crap. So by us talking about it, getting it off our chest, me reading the chat being like, geez, I'm not the only one. And then you're listening to me and you're like, dude, I thought about that. I'm not saying we think exactly alike, but you know what I mean. It's a way for us to vent. It's a way for us to try to encourage each other. And I encourage all of you. Okay? It sounds like I'm doom and gloom, but that's because there's a lot of stuff that's terrible with a lot of this. But here's the deal. But I'm trying to encourage you. We need to take our darn country back. Because if you're a politician in this country, if you're in elected office in this country, you have to take that oath, and you need to understand when you take that oath that if you violate it, capital offense. That's my gut. Maybe someone could talk me into like hard labor work camp. Gulag might be fine too. We'd have to think about some of these things. But here's where I'm such a nice guy. I give them a choice. You have a choice. See, that's the thing, man. If I could have it my way, if I could be king of this country for a day, and I know we're not supposed to have a king, but we probably almost need a king for about a day or two in this country just to hit the reset button, because stuff's just so messed up. Look, Jesus had to go through and cleanse the temple with a whip. Sometimes the temple needs cleansed with a whip. That's what the Bible says. But here's the deal. They have a choice. Love it or leave it. Mr. Abdullah Kakamami, Mr. Name I can't pronounce, Representative Punjab State. I mean, you could just fill in the blanks all day long. If I can't pronounce your name, I'm suspicious. But if you can act like an American and you are an American, then you're going to be fine. But it's this simple. You have a choice. You love it or you leave it. Do you love America? Great. Let's do this. It's time to take our country back. I won't even look at you to know what color you are. That's the point. If you're doing the right thing, I'm going to be so busy fighting behind you, beside you, wherever I need to be to fight this good fight. I won't even have time to look at you if you're doing the right thing. When you're antithetical to our country, when you're antithetical to Americans, when you hate this country, yeah, now I'm looking at you. And by the way, I can't pronounce your name either. So love it or leave it. If you don't like it, if you don't want to take that solemn oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, don't take the oath. Get the heck out of my country. Buy a one-way ticket on a boat and don't come back. You can run your mouth over there because guess what? I don't want to go to the old country. I don't care about your country. Here's my promise I can make to all these people. I will never, ever, 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 ever come over to your country and try to change it. That's why I hate this war that's going on right now. I don't want every country to act exactly like America. I don't want people that don't want to be here. I will never, ever, ever go to your country and mess with your culture. But the deal works both ways. You're not going to come in my country and mess with my culture either. You're not going to mess with my Second Amendment. Because I was created by God and I love God and God gave me the natural God-given right to keep and bear arms. And my government's sole purpose is to protect these certain unalienable rights. That's the only thing it means to be an American, is that we have certain unalienable rights. Because if you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, doesn't mean everyone's guaranteed to be happy. The pursuit of happiness, there's nothing more than you could possibly need. I'm not asking for everything. I know this earth is never going to be perfect. In fact, I believe this earth is just a trial, and I believe it's very short. I believe it's actually a vapor. It appeareth, and then it vanisheth away. But while I'm here, is that too much to ask for? That I just want to live in the United States of America under the Constitution and Bill of Rights of the United States of America? I don't think that's too much to ask for. So no, it's not okay. And it's not okay at all. I don't care if you moved in this country and you hate your country, you need to get out. Now, here's where it even gets a little tougher, but I'm going to be just as strict. I don't care if your family came over from the Mayflower. If you take that oath and you want to write a gun control law and go against the Second Amendment or any of these broad topics that are against the Constitution, capital offense. No, I'm not cutting people slack. Look, I don't care. Even if you're white, if you're a heritage American, if you're all these things. And look, you have to stand up for yourself for being white right now. That's all I'm trying to say. But I don't care. You could look just like me. You could have come over on the Mayflower. And if you take that oath and you introduce a gun control bill, let alone vote for it, that's it. Trial. Immediately. High crime. Does that sound nuts, or isn't that just the way? Think about it. An oath. What's an oath mean? How many of you were in the military? And if so, we're going to assume, well, we don't even need to assume, you took an oath, didn't you? Did you take an oath to Israel's constitution? Did you take an oath to Netanyahu? Did you take an oath to Mogadishu? Did you take an oath? These are hyperbolic questions. You took an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America if you served in the United States Armed Services. I want to throw that caveat in. I may have a viewer that's like, dude, I'm Australian and I served in the Australian Army. Well, then you would, I assume, even though I'm not really up on their oath, but you probably took an oath to the Australian Army. But for my American viewers, because most of my viewers are Americans, not all. Now, just be honest, guys, because I like it. You guys are honest people. You'll be honest. I know you will be. Did you take the oath just as pro forma? Did you just take the oath because you wanted to get in the military? You wanted 3 hots and a cot. You wanted to just play with some cool guns, or maybe play with some cool stuff if you were a mechanic, or, get in there and slap a bunch of stuff on trays if you worked in the chow hall, if you were a cook, or whatever it is that turns you on about joining. Did you just do it for the pay grade? Like, dude, I'm just here because I hate my country, but I can't wait to go from the next pay grade from E2 to E3. Now, of course, you wanted your pay raised. You could barely afford to get a haircut when you're low enlisted ranks, right? And you are eating at the chow hall because you're broke as a joke. I know a lot of people that are and were in the military. So I'm not saying you didn't want your paycheck, but did you go in there because you were going to get rich? You know what I'm saying? Let me know, guys. I didn't serve in the military. I'm trying to serve my country the best I can and be an advocate for it. Not in the United States Armed Services. That wasn't my calling. I'm glad it was a lot of your calling because it just wasn't mine. But here's the thing, though. These are kind of hyperbolic questions because I know none of you joined the United States service just for that. I know Mateo's going to chime in if he's watching. He said some of the stuff at the chow hall is actually good, and there was a thing where you could go into I think he called it the E Club, and you could get a nickel draft beer. Yeah, there's some fringe benefits, obviously. But no, you probably went in the military and took the oath because you loved your country. I don't think I have one viewer watching right now that's like, I joined the United States military and took that oath of office, which I think I can speak for all of you because I know a lot of you guys pretty well in a good way. I don't think any of you were like, oh, that oath expired the minute I got out. No, you're still honoring that oath today, aren't you? But you went in there because you wanted America to be free. And you knew there was going to be a guy like me that actually wasn't going to join the military. But you're like, you know what, though? I want it to be free for me and my kids and my family, but I want it to be a good country for 2AE to you. You guys have my back by joining the military. I have your back right now by trying to do what I'm advocating for. We're all working together on this. Fair enough? Why isn't it looked at that way when somebody goes to serve their country? Okay, you're a serviceman, the United States Armed Service, Thank you for your service, sir. Yeah, we say that for a reason because you're a servant. You're a public servant. You're there to serve your country. Same thing with a politician. They're supposed to be a public servant. They're supposed to be serving us, working for us, there to protect and defend the Constitution. What's mightier, the pen or the sword? Well, we can go in circles about that, and that's actually a greatly profound question, but that's why I'm tying these two together. Some people need to defend with that pen in Washington, D.C. Some people need to take up that sword or that M16 or that M1911, and they need to defend it with that. That's the way it works. There's always going to be times of peace. There's always going to be times of war. But this oath that these politicians take, just think about this. And it's not just politicians like you'd think. This is people working for any level of government. If you're on the government dole, you're in public service, and that oath is supposed to be serious, like deadly serious. What happens if you're in the military and you took that oath? You said, Staff Sergeant so-and-so, with all due respect, F my oath, and I'm looking at the enemy over there in those other buildings, and I think I'd rather just go fight with them right now. I mean, if you guys can answer that for me, let me know. I have a pretty good idea. That wouldn't work out very well. Now, under Obama, you had Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, and that's just the problem. That's just the problem. That we had a country with the president of the United States named Barack Hussein Obama. That's a big, big problem. You grew up learning about George Washington. I wish George Washington was running for office. Like I've said, really, I wish you. Jesus for president. Well, yeah, but look, Jesus is coming back. Be assured, Jesus is coming back. But no one's going to be perfect. None of us, like I said earlier, he's a good dude. She's a good gal. Yeah, we say that. You know what I mean? And I mean as a term of, none of us are truly good. I believe Jesus is the only good person that's actually walked this earth that was truly, truly good. But besides that, okay, George Washington, 2028 would have my vote. No, we had a president named Barack Hussein Obama. Where am I? What's going on? I'm like the former vice president. Remember? Do you remember that? We used to call him the former vice president, or we used to call him the former vice president. Now he's the former vice president Joe Biden. He's up on the stage. This is what I feel like right now, because I'm literally talking about oath of office. What would happen if you tell Staff Sergeant Smith, "Hey, screw my oath. I'm just going to go over there and fight for the enemy for a little bit and shoot back at you. Are we cool? What's my oath? It means nothing." No, that's literally what these politicians are doing. The only reason the government's allowed to exist at all is to preserve our natural God-given rights, and they write gun control bills, and that's just as much of a traitor as if you left your fire team and ran over to the enemy and started shooting back at your own men. I don't see much of a difference, actually. On certain levels, there's a difference, but there really isn't. So then I sit here, and I'm like, well, there was that one that Obama let off the hook. Barack Hussein Obama. Just let that resonate for a minute. We're talking about George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. All right. Yeah. Some of you guys are huge Trump fans. You're having happy thoughts about Donald J. Trump right now. I'm not a fan of his war right now. The Epstein. Where is that list, by the way? Oh, do you think maybe that list is in Israel? But I digress. Where's the list? Who's on the list? Where's the actual? Look, the Massey Rokana bill, that's the list. Where's the actual list? Dude, can anyone draw me a treasure map to it? I'm just going to follow the bombs and the guns, and that might lead me a little closer, but I digress. You're thinking to yourself, man, maybe for a Democrat, JFK wasn't that bad. I mean, he wanted to get rid of the CIA. You know what else he did, right? With Israel. He told the Prime Minister of Israel, you're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Don't even think about it. You're not going to have it. Well, what if we do? No, don't even think about it. Go look this up. You will not have a nuclear weapon. JFK said. Didn't live a whole lot longer after that. So you're thinking about these presidents, and then you wake up one day, and you're like, wow, my president is Barack Hussein Obama. And then you're like, where am I? What's going on? And it reminds you of the former vice president. He was up on the campaign stage. Do you guys remember this? It was his biggest rally he had. They had like 6 circles. Some of you guys remember this. You know what I'm saying? I know some of you guys, Midwest Logger, you remember this rally. So the former vice president at that time, he's up there, and he's like, they had 6 circles. They were 20 foot apart. There was 3 people in the audience total. So they hurried up and grabbed a couple members of the media. They said, now it's sold out. It's his largest rally he's ever had. 6 people were in attendance. Now, keep in mind, the way everything went down, did you hear what Chuck Schumer said the other day about this, by the way, about the 10 million ballots? This was the most popular president of all time. And he gets up there, sold out crowd of 6 people in the audience. And he's on the stage, and he's, where am I? What's going on? And he's like, this is my wife. This is my daughter. Whoa. This is my wife. This is my daughter. They switched on me. I mean, you literally can't even make this up. You thought you lived in America, and now you got people that hate America making laws. You have President Barack Hussein Obama. You've got the former vice president. And I'm like, well, hopefully he's going to have a good foreign policy. So they said, sir, what will you do? What will you do with the pullout in Afghanistan? We heard about how that went with that Bagram Air Force Base. What a debacle. We gave untold amount of machine guns and bombs and guns that you can't even own in your country. We gave that to, they're nice people, I've been told. I mean, they are nice. They say these are nice people. They're very nice. But the Taliban, people like that, good, wholesome, good, wholesome people. I mean, they're nice till they behead you. As long as you're not worried about being beheaded, you'll get along great till you're beheaded. But look, millions of these guns get given to people like the Taliban. Great. What could go wrong with that? And they said, well, what's your foreign policy, sir? And then he stands up and then says, I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize the pressure. Long pause and a succinct drool. How'd I get off on that tangent? Oh yeah, I said, what would happen if you're sitting there with your fire team and you're like, you know what, Staff Sergeant, screw this oath of office. I'm just gonna go over there. I just want to be with the enemy right now. It's okay. We'll just shred my oath. It wouldn't work out very well. And then I'm like, well, except for actually somebody kind of sort of did that under Barack Hussein Obama, and I guess it was, pretty much considered fine. And I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm sitting here right now trying to figure out here, what's a goyim like me supposed to do? I mean, I'm not going to run out in the streets yelling Aloha snack bar, okay? I've been trying to cut out the junk food lately. I'm not a big snack bar, but Aloha snack bar. Nah, I'm not really into that either, okay? I probably just need to get back to my Bible and keep reading. And then I'll just have to find the exact text because it has to be in there. It literally has to be in there where it's going to tell me that God's chosen person in the year of our Lord 2026 is Bibi Netanyahu. And if you don't support all of his foreign policy and all of his guns, and dude, I just couldn't wait, man. After the Marine Corps barracks bombing, it's like, you guys remember this if you're my age. I was a kid, but it's like, And then I'm looking at the thing, I'm like, oh, this is just awesome. I've been waiting 40 years for this. Now we're back in Lebanon. We're bombing Beirut again. Are you kidding me right now? The NFA is still reigning over the Second Amendment in this country. The Second Amendment sits subservient right now in this country to the National Firearms Act, the Gun Control Act of 1968, the Hughes Amendment that modified the Firearms Owners Protection Act of 1986, and tens of thousands of local and federal laws, rules, regulations, CFRs that tread on our natural God-given right to keep and bear arms. Now, who are these people? Well, it's not that simple, actually. Because, as I've said a million times, I can't actually get an answer what it means right this minute to be an Israelite. I don't know exactly what it means to be a Jew. Now, some people are like, look, dude, I'm just religiously Jewish. I live in the United States. I believe in the Second Amendment. Some people are willing to actually say what it means, but I'm talking on the larger level. I'm talking on the geopolitical stage. I'm talking about when you hear all these evangelical pastors out there saying, all Christians must stand for our Judeo-Christian values with our brothers in Christ, Israel. I'm like, really though? As in like the current Netanyahu regime, as in like the exact geographical borders it is like right now? Because here's the thing. Is it Israel in 1979? Is it Israel in 1961? Is it Israel in 1948, 47? Israel in 1900? Is it Israel BC 607 or 570? Or is it Israel of AD 70? Which ones is it? And then it comes down to the Canaanites. Has anyone heard of them before? In the Bible, Canaanites were the indigenous inhabitants of the land of Canaan, the promised land. So as you read portions of the Bible, you'll realize there were certain times where certain peoples were in the good graces of God, sometimes not so much actually. That's what I'm saying. This is far from simple. And we're not just going to go over there and just stop this in a week. And our gas prices are going to keep going up. And the government's only worried about funding more money for Israel's war. And they're not in a hurry to repeal gun control laws. And this is where it's frustrating. And I'm going to talk about how this is a war that's on our soil in just 2 seconds here, and why we still need the Second Amendment more than ever. Whom the Israelites were commanded to displace or destroy after the Exodus from Egypt. They were portrayed as a group of ethically and religiously distinct nations whose led to a divine judgment. Now, I'm reading you a real generic version. I'm actually not even really, this isn't actually even a religious sermon that I'm giving right now. I'm trying to give you a very vanilla version just for you to know that this exists, and then do all of your own research. I just saw crusades. Amen, actually. According to Genesis 10, Table of Nations, the Canaanites were descendants of Canaan, the grandson of Noah, through his son Ham, or Ham, depending on how you want to pronounce it. The curse. Canaan was famously cursed by Noah because of an incident involving Ham, leading to a prophecy that his descendants would be servants to the descendants of Shem and Japheth. Noah's grandson? I told you guys this is biblical. Seven nations. While Canaanite is often used as a general term, the Bible frequently lists 7 specific groups living in the land. Okay. This is where I kind of lack as a theologist. I'm not good at pronouncing a lot of these names. I'm just being honest with you guys. I can read, I can understand the principles. I'm just not that good at pronouncing some of these names. There you go. That's worthy of being condemned for, I guess, but some of these names are hard to pronounce. But here's the moral of the story. The Canaanites' religious practices were the primary reason for their mandated destruction. So the Bible mandates destruction of peoples that now there's even modern science, let alone biblical scripture, because you can take it from either approach and you still come to the same conclusion, that are still there right now. Again, strengthening my previous assertions, this is all still a holy war. Now, look, it's always going to be a battle of good versus evil everywhere. But I'm saying specifically in this area, the 7 nations, this is a holy war. Literally, deities, they worship the pantheon of gods, most notably Baal and Asherah, fertility goddess, gods, goddesses, a storm god they worshipped. They were condemned for customs such as child sacrifice to the god Moloch, ritual, prostitution, incest, and other sexual abominations. Are these people that may have been living on this land this whole time? Look at the genealogies in the Bible, in Genesis. Look at the lands these people lived in and still do today. Don't forget this, still do today. It was mandated their complete destruction, but it didn't actually happen. Are those the ones that we're supposed to be fighting for? Which ones are they, though? To be a good Christian, do I have to support the war for the ones that were into ritual prostitution, or to the ones that sacrificed children to Moloch? Do I need to prostitute my wife and sacrifice my child to Molech to be a good Christian? Will that satisfy the evangelical preacher preaching to a megachurch? Because if he answers yes, no, I ain't going to do that. I'm not even going to think about it, actually. So which ones are these, though? You're supposed to think everybody over there's a choir boy. They're all singing in the front row of the choir, and everything's perfect. When they take a dump, their poop doesn't even stink, is what you'll hear right now. Canaanite later became synonymous with merchants or traders, reflecting their historical role as seafaring commercial powers. Well, of course, that doesn't surprise you, does it? Some of them that control the most money happen to be the ones that do have propensities to go out and sacrifice children to one of their polytheistic gods, incest, sexual abominations, prostitution. Now, I said earlier, the more things change, the more they actually stay the same, because it seems to me there's a certain list of files that I don't think there's any way we have access to all of them, because I don't even believe they're in this country. But wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Who's surprised? Haven't we heard recently about, probably, allegedly, it appears that some people on this certain island somewhere with these certain files may have been actually talking about lots of sick things with children, actually. Lots of prostitution, possibly even up to and including eating them, as in like certain types of beef jerky. You guys have to know what I'm talking about. Like, dude, this sounds crazy. 10 years ago, I would have turned off a guy saying half of what I'm saying right now, because it just sounds crazy. But no, it's actually in the files that we're allowed to have, which I don't believe is nearly all of them. And I believe that the real files might be the exact reason why we're over there right now. Well, hold on a minute. How could little BB tell Daddy Trump that he has to do everything he tells him to do just to mark right, unless he had something over on him? Now, I can't prove none of this. I'm just saying. Just something to think about a little bit. But we're talking about this. They're eating people. They're sacrificing people. They're doing abominations against children. And then you rewind the clock, and guess what? They're still fighting over there. We're still fighting over there. People are prostituting. They're doing horrendous things with children, up to and including, allegedly, from some of the stuff that's come out from the files, eating them. I know it sounds like, in a way, I'm repeating myself. No, I'm just talking about, the Canaanites, grandson of Noah, and also this island somewhere, and all these things. I'm trying to talk in cryptic enough code so this channel doesn't get nuked. This channel will be buried under the third temple here before it's said and done. Where's 2A Edu? He's under the third temple. And I know you guys are going to tell you, like, dude, we need to frantically make this red heifer to sacrifice it to get 2A Edu out. Just think about this. I'm like, guys, you know what? I know it's sacrilegious, but I kind of need you to make that red heifer right now to get me out. I'm trapped under the dome. I need to get out. And no, you guys know what I'm saying, though. It's like, really? Ron Wayne Official, I should have been checking my super chats, left me a member super chat, member for 40 months, and says 2A Edu rocks. Well, thanks, Ron Wayne. I appreciate you, man. And as always, shout out to my good friend in the Ron Wayne channel. That was all of them, so I read that pretty quickly. Now, hold on a minute, because I know a few of you just really aren't Christian, and you're just not even that religious. Modern perspectives, historical archaeology, secular scholars often view the Israelites as having actually emerged from within Canaanite culture rather than being external conquerors. So hold on a minute. And I'm not saying this is true for sure. I'm just giving you guys another way to think about this. No, drain the swamp, jerky. I mean, I'm glad somebody else is aware of some of this. This is, dude, I'll say this one more time. If I heard some dude like 10 years ago on the internet being like, dude, it looks like kind of sort of they might be, the children and the jerky and they're eating it, I'd be like, dude, this guy's nuts. Dude, I'm just telling you stuff that's come out right now, man. You just can't even make this stuff up, right? You know what I'm saying, Ron? It's like, dude named Rod, what's happening, man? How you doing? You're a very well-learned man. You've done a lot of research. I mean, dude, I have a feeling you've looked some of this up, but if you haven't, am I shocking you with any of this? We're talking about the Canaanites and things they did that were not so good. Speaking in code the best I can on here, because there's certain things you can't say on this platform. Some of this stuff's so bad you can't even talk about it. You know what I mean? And I said that while I was laughing because, of course, what's happening, Brad? How you doing, man? I hope you and your wife are doing good, and I'm happy about exciting things for your family that's going on right now, right? I hope everything's going well. Because I've been aware for 20 years. And I imagine society will forget again. That's why I laughed. I'm like, sometimes I ask tongue-in-cheek questions just to be jovial. I'm like, dude named Red, have you ever heard of this? And I'm laughing. My only debate was, has Red been aware of it for like 15 or 20 years? 20 years. I mean, come on. But here's the thing, though, man. Even the secular people. Now, here's the thing. Some people are like, dude, I'm just hardcore science. Genetic legacy. Recent DNA studies of ancient remains suggest that modern populations in the Levant, including Lebanese and Palestinians, share significant ancestry with the ancient Canaanites. Whoa. So secular, just think about this. This is why this is tumultuous over there. And this is why I think we need to pull the heck out. And I'm sick and tired of our country being over there. Even if it makes some viewers of mine accuse me of being like this terrible abomination of a Christian. I'm still going to tell you my opinion because I'm being honest with you. So wait a minute. If secular scholars often view the Israelites as having actually emerged from within Canaanite culture, and then now with recent DNA studies, they're finding genetic evidence that modern populations, meaning right now, in the Levant? Interesting. Lebanese, Palestinians? Dude, these people hate each other so much they hate themselves. This is how crazy this is over there. Am I a scholar on any of this? No, of course not. But, dude, this is messed up. Beyond repair. We are not going to go over there with our bombs, with our guns. Just bomb them harder. Borrow more money. The American people get working overtime, get working more hours. That ain't just going to solve this. We could be 300 trillion in debt. What are we going to do? Bomb all the oil? Where are we going to get the oil from? I keep being told by our current president, we're energy independent. We're the largest exporter of oil and gas. Bull crap. Because some of it's just it when you see it. Why aren't my gas prices dropping then? Look, if we produce so much excess oil and gas in this country, why the heck is my diesel fuel that I'm having to buy right now almost up to $6 a gallon in some places, and the cheapest I can find it for is still a little bit over $5 a gallon? Dude, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining, okay? Do I completely understand how all this works? No, of course not. But they literally tell us right to our face, oh, don't worry, this isn't affecting gas prices at all. I'm like, oh, great. So I'll go to the pump and it's going to be $2.71 again. Well, it's not going to be that because the Michigan lawmakers raised our gas tax. Now there's all this BS going up. Give me a break. We produce so much oil in the U.S., we don't need any of the oil from the Middle East. Says this stupid clown up there wearing a wig on stage. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? What type of clown world do I live in? And look, there's more to life than gas prices. I'm just saying some of this stuff can get debunked so quick. We don't get any oil. Straits of Hormuz, not a problem. Doesn't matter. Meanwhile, I'll just send Marco over to Cuba for 2 minutes. Did you guys hear that? Amongst all of this, now we're just going to go take Cuba, but don't worry, it'll only take 2 minutes. How many hours am I going to have to work to provide a welfare check for all the Cubans? Give me a break. Here's the problem. Here's what's ironic about all this. They're going to drive my gas and diesel prices so much, I'm not even going to be able to afford to drive to work to generate revenue for the machine, for the man, for them to steal it via taxation, to even be able to pay for people to go on welfare and give the people of Cuba free gas. That's the problem. It's getting to a point for a lot of people, and some of you may know exactly what I'm talking about right now. We're starting to get borderline, and it's not quite there yet for me, thankfully, but I'm watching it inching closer. It's going to get to the point where it's too expensive in your life to be able to afford to even work anymore. Just think about that for 2 seconds. When it becomes too expensive to be able to work, how can you possibly sustain a country? The only way to fix it then is you'd have to usher in, and I'm saying fix it with air quotes, usher in communism as fast as you could. And then you'll be working in the sweatshops. You'll be working in the rice fields. You have to pick 500 pounds of rice a week, but you might get to bring 2 pounds home to feed your family. Is that what we're racing for? We've talked a lot about communism, the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. And look at the Bolsheviks, and look at their ancestry, and look at where they come from. All this stuff goes in full circle. We're talking about this certain very specific place that's had meandering borders for all these years. It's kind of a religious state, but it's kind of not. There's 7 nations. Which one is it? There's Abraham, but he didn't just have one daughter with one wife like I did. It's a lot more complicated than that. There's these people, there's Bolsheviks, and I kind of repeat myself, though, at that point, don't I? Look up the Bolsheviks. Look what tribe they come from. I mean, you can't even make this up. And it seems like this country, at the expense to save Israel, to preserve Christianity, to save Israel, we're going to do everything we can to try to get ourselves right back in the arms of the Bolsheviks again. Or maybe I should correct myself. Maybe we actually never left. I have no idea. I'm not sure which theory is better. Have we still been sitting there with someone behind a curtain with an extra little pointy and a hat? Have we been working for them the whole time? I don't know. Are we working for Karl Marx? Maybe, probably. Did we sell our country for 600 pounds sterling to England? I don't know. The one that sounds the most preposterous of all of it, that's probably actually the answer. And I'm saying that for a little bit of dry humor, but I'm actually kind of being like a little bit serious. Abraham's primary wife was Sarah, a central matriarch in the Bible who gave birth to Isaac in her old age. Do you guys remember that? She was initially barren, leading Abraham to have his first son Ishmael with her handmaid. Hagar, after Sarah died, Abraham married Keturah, with whom he had 6 more. Sarah, known as the mother of Isaac, she was Abraham's half-sister or niece, depending on the interpretation. See, a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of interpretations on this. I'm trying to just give you a little bit of a genealogy, just a teeny bit, because I'm still trying to figure out who these people are and which ones are chosen and which ones that I have to go fight for right now, whether it's with my tax dollar or with my own bare hands, whatever it's going to take. Because I do take up the sword for God whenever I can, actually. And I believe the Bible is his sword and it is the word of God. But I need to figure out who it actually is over there before I'm going to be enthusiastic about fighting for it. You see what I'm saying? I think I'm being perfectly logical here. She was promised to bear a son despite her old age, causing her to laugh in disbelief. She's like, that's preposterous. I'm barren. There's no way I could have a child. Well, God had other plans, didn't he? Hagar. You can pronounce these words different ways. Depends your dialect, guys. An Egyptian servant to Sarah, who bore Abraham's first son, Ishmael, but was not officially considered a, quote, wife in the same standing as Sarah. I think another way to word that, you might say a concubine wife, right? Didn't our government go kill David Koresh and his concubines and put flammable gas in the bunkers with all the women and children and just did this just mass execution of all of them? Look, it's not the same analogy at all. I'm not saying that David Koresh is akin to Abraham. It's just, it kind of reminds me of the government saying you have to kill anybody that might have multiple wives, might have allegedly had a machine gun, might not have been living within the system, said, here's my compound, leave me and my family and my many wives alone, you know. Trust me, I promise you, I'm not comparing David Koresh directly to Abraham. Not even close. It's just part of the story reminds me a part of it. Maybe some of you know what I mean by that. Keturah, Abraham married her after Sarah's death. And she is referred to as wife in Genesis. So, look, there isn't just one child of Abraham. So there you go. And none of these people are taking DNA tests, which I said last week I'm skeptical of because I don't want the government to just be taking DNA tests of people. But if it's your bloodline, if it's your DNA, okay, do you have DNA that traces you back to Abraham or don't you? And if so, under which of his wives? But even that's not enough because then which nation did you join? Okay? Which culture did you assimilate out of? Were you part of a nation that was once in the good graces of God, but then became so bad, so evil that God ordered the destruction of your whole race, of your whole nation? See, that's the thing. So let's just say, for example, if you're a Canaanite and you're over there on the land, which I just said, biblically, there's evidence they weren't all destroyed. Modern secular archaeology and genetics are offering modern proof that they weren't destroyed. So think about this. Are you entitled to the land because you were part of a tribe that God ordered the complete destruction of all of your people? There's just questions I'm bringing up that I don't hear a lot of people asking, quite frankly. Now, here's the thing. Was Abraham truly, was Sarah truly his sister? See, there's different opinions on this. Not necessarily. Because he twice presented Sarah as his sister to protect himself, that she was renowned for her beauty, leading her to be taken into the houses of foreign rulers. Okay, so it's not, there's debate about this. I'm not certain that she was literally his sister, okay? But she was presented as that, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to survive. Abraham purchased a grave for Sarah at the cave of the patriarchs in Hebron, establishing his connection to the land. See? Has anyone heard of that? Hebron. It just depends on your dialect, guys. Some people freak out about that. It's not a carbine, it's a carbine. I know. It's Hebron, it's Hebron. You know, whatever. Isn't that a city in Kentucky, too? The state of Kentucky is God's chosen people. Hold on a minute. Whoa. Check this out. Dude, check this out, guys. I just figured out this whole war. We need to bomb the heck out of Kentucky. Kentucky's God's chosen people. Listen. Abraham purchased a grave for Sarah at the cave of the patriarchs in Hebron, establishing his connection to the land. I'm like, dude, I've never been to the Middle East, but that sounds familiar. I know where that's at. I've been to Kentucky before. That's it. Man. I need like 1,000 super chats tonight, guys. I need to be able to look. This is why I'm fundraising. Hold on. I need to have a full knight and suit of armor. I need to be on a white steed. I need a crusaders, like the stereotypical crusader you'd see, like in a book, a movie. I need that outfit. Horses are expensive. It's hard. No, I'm not literally asking you guys to fund this, but you know what I mean, though. I'm going down to Kentucky. That's it. I'm going to go down to Kentucky because that's it right there. No, seriously though, guys, this is not that simple. Now, here's what I did, which is a interesting thing. And I just wanted to research from this because, well, I just wanted to, just to see what kind of like maybe the other side would say per se. And when I say the other side, meaning I'm not a Jew. I don't trust Google or their best interest. So I purposely went into Google AI and I asked it a question. And I said, do Jews consider Jesus to be a prophet? And this is what AI spit back. And their source that they're citing is My Jewish Learning. So this is the main source from as AI compiled from a Jewish learning source. And I wanted to hear it from the Jews themselves. I can't be much more fair, can I? Well, here's the thing. The Christian preachers, not all, a lot of them though lately, Mike Huckabee and a lot of these people. To be a good Christian, you have to have 100% allegiance to Israel. Israel. Because Christian Jew, same thing. Judeo-Christian values, Judeo/Christian, same thing. You guys have been hearing how this is worded. This is how they talk. I'm like, okay, well, hold on a minute. I believe in Jesus being a prophet. I believe in the Messiah. I believe in the Lamb. I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I believe Jesus is risen. And here's the thing. I believe in the third temple. Not that they're going to need to tear that dome down and erect one on this particular piece of land. No, I believe in the third temple as Jesus. So that's what I believe. So I said, let's see what the Jews believe about Jesus. And I was like, dude, I don't even need to read this. I just repeat everything I said because since Jews and Christians are the same thing, that's what I'm being told by a lot of my Christian friends, then Jews must also believe that Jesus is the Trinity. They do believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. They do believe Jesus rebuilt the temple in 3 days. He is risen, and Jesus is the temple. They would have to believe that since we're literally the same thing, right? Of course, they believe in prophecy. Now, here's the thing. They'll deny all this, but while Jesus is on earth, he not only orders, but he predicts. He predicts that Herod's temple will be torn down, and it does. And it is torn down. But hold on. They must believe all that. And they would never want to build a third temple because since it's our Judeo/Christian values and we're the same thing, meaning Judeo/Christian/Bibi Netanyahu / this very specific piece of land, which is gerrymandered and it's changed just in the last few decades and in the last century. And there's two rivers depicted on the flag, but that's actually not God's chosen people anymore, even though it's the Star of David and it's religious. But they're fighting and killing people that live within God's chosen area. So with all of this, it's all the same thing, I keep being told. And to be a good Christian, I need to get in line with all this. Yes, Jesus said the temple will be rebuilt in 3 days. Jesus is risen, and I believe Jesus is the temple. Look, you guys haven't heard me say one hateful thing towards Jews tonight, have you? I'm going to have a little bias, Obviously, that's not my truth. That's not my lifestyle. Of course, I'm going to have a little bias. Of course, everyone does. But I've not tried to be mean to them at all tonight. I'm just trying to yet again say it's not the same thing. So this is what AI said. Woke, Google AI, and the source cited is My Jewish Learning. No, traditional Judaism does not consider Jesus to be a prophet, nor the Messiah, nor the Son of God. Well, then I already know right now they can't be the same thing. But let's continue. Judaism holds that the end of prophecy ended centuries before Jesus' birth, and his life did not fulfill the messianic requirements, such as bringing world peace and rebuilding the temple. See, I told you they need to rebuild that temple that Jesus said to tear down. So maybe, if you ever thought about this, maybe these religions are not only not the same, they may be antithetical to each other. Just think about it. I'm just asking you to think about it. Maybe there's 3 categories: same thing, not same thing, or maybe antithesis. I'm just saying. Okay. Outlined in Hebrew scriptures. Key details regarding the Jewish view of Jesus include not a prophet. Judaism teaches that the age of prophecy ceased with the last prophets, Malachi, Haggai, and Zechariah, long before Jesus lived. Messianic requirements. The Jewish Messiah is expected to be a human leader who brings universal peace, gathers all Jews to Israel, and brings knowledge of God to the world. Diverse views. While not accepted as a religious figure, some Jews may view, and this is some, because this goes back to this again, I'm just saying, even religious Jew is not one thing. And there's many different sects of Christianity as well, to be fair, in virtually all religions. But some Jews may view Jesus historically as a misguided teacher. Ooh. Wait a minute now. I'm not a good Christian unless I believe that Jesus may have been a misguided teacher? Well, some of them believe that, according to My Jewish Learning. A rabbi or historical figure, but not a divine prophet. So they're saying he may have been just a little misguided. He may have been a rabbi, he may have been a historical figure, but not a divine prophet. And that's what some of them think, and some of them think even a lot differently than that too, actually. Some think of him even a bit worse than that, actually. Scriptural basis. Jewish belief is based on national revelation of Sinai, not the individual revelation required to accept a new prophet. While Messianic Judaism, parentheses, a movement not recognized by mainstream Jewish denominations, believes Jesus is the Messiah, the vast majority of Jewish traditions do not. So again, I just read that. It was a short little blurb. That's what AI via the My Jewish Learning site had to say about that. I mean, One last segment I want to cover here, which is going to tie all of this in with the Second Amendment. Man who rammed into Michigan synagogue. Did you guys hear about this just a couple days ago? Man who rammed into Michigan synagogue had just lost family in an Israeli strike in Lebanon. But of course, I should have got in here, did a video, because now you guys won't believe me. When I first had this happen, I said, dude, this is retaliation. This is probably him trying to settle a score of what happened in the old country. Dang it, I hate when I'm right with this stuff. Of course it is, though. It's always what this is. So I'm going to read this article briefly. This is by Corey Williams, Ed White, and Bassem Maru from the Associated Press. A Lebanese-born man who had learned a week earlier that 4 of his family members were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Because remember last week I talked about Israel was getting ready. This is what the official initial statement was from the president, from all of his top brass, from Marco Rubio. He said, Israel was getting ready to strike Iran, so the United States had to strike Iran. I'll just tell you, let me just get this off my chest. Can I? And I'll finish reading this article. Bibi Netanyahu has to be the worst president the United States has ever had. Worst president of the United States of all time. We need to vote him out coming up here in the next elections. So this guy that rams into a Michigan synagogue, we'll talk about people with guns protecting themselves in just a second here. He had learned a week earlier 4 of his family members were killed in an Israeli airstrike in his native country. See? So this is back to this again. People that live here, but they still identify as another country being their country. They're here. They're eating the government cheese. Okay? They're here trying to enjoy some of that milk and honey flowing. But they don't consider themselves Americans. Their people aren't in America. They're not in America, and they haven't assimilated. I think there's a lot of people like that here right now. Waited in his car outside a synagogue for 2 hours before ramming into the building where dozens of children were inside. You know, the Bible says you'd be better off to have a millstone around your neck than to harm God's little ones. That gets me angry when there's anybody out there trying to crash their car into, shoot, whatever they're trying to do. And children. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Authorities said Friday that, I'm going to try to pronounce his name, guys. Look, I'm just saying, man. Now, there's causation and there's correlation. But why does it often correlate, okay, to when there's trouble, you just can't pronounce their name? Often. Not always. Maybe I'm just not good at reading, too. I mean, whatever. Maybe I just can't read. Authorities said Friday that Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, 41, crashed his car into Temple, Israel, outside Detroit on Thursday afternoon, then started firing his gun through the windshield, exchanging fire with an armed security guard. Remember this. We talked about this so much. This is why good people need to be armed in this country, because the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Now, was it right that Israel was bombing and killing his family? Absolutely not. Okay? But I believe that vengeance is the Lord's, and that you don't go kill other children in another continent to right the wrong, and it's sick. And I actually, just on a human level, because again, I'm not a fan of Aloha Snack Bar and all of their jihadism. I'm actually find it repulsive. Look, but on a certain level, man, I actually feel bad for this guy. He's over here in the U.S. A large portion of his family gets killed by Israel. But that doesn't make it right. That's not okay to try to kill a bunch of children at school. You guys may have a different opinion than me on that. I totally get it. I believe vengeance is the Lord's. I believe that it's up to us as strong men in this country, yes, we protect our children at all costs. But because of a bombing that happens across the world, we don't just go and start killing children that's just way over the line for me. I don't like it. So start exchanging fire through the windshield, exchanging fire with an armed security guard. Following the attack Thursday, a person familiar with the matter speaking to the AP on condition of anonymity, well, that's AP for you, and security guards of the building killed the gunman. Security guards killed the gunman. And I had heard that too. I was actually talking to my state representative and my buddy Ron. Are you there, Ron? I was talking to Ron and I heard her chiming in and said, yeah, the security guard got him. So I've heard that from different sources. But yeah, security guard got him. Later, authorities said guards neutralized him. But, and this is where this gets interesting, this is our government chiming in. Where are those files really at, though? Because I don't know, for some reason, when I keep thinking of all these wars, I think of biblical wars. I think of stuff thousands of years ago. I think of stuff going on right now. And then Epstein just keeps popping up in my mind, too, though. And like this beef jerky, and then just like who works for who? You know what I mean? Who is the president of this country right now? I just wonder. Just asking questions. Now, just asking questions, brother. Following the attack, a person familiar with the matter. All right. But Jennifer Runyon, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Detroit field office, said during a news conference that ultimately Ghazali fatally shot himself after he got struck in the vehicle and the engine caught fire. Okay. So it was widely reported that the security guard took him out. Now they said they took him out. He took himself out. Officials later found large quantities of commercial-grade fireworks and several jugs of a liquid believed to be gasoline ramming through the building. It appears improvised bombs. Wanted to blow up everything. Wanted to kill children. But Israel or the U.S., and maybe I just repeated myself. You guys know what I'm saying? Israel, the U.S., but I might repeat myself at this point, had just got done bombing his people, but he's an American. We're supposed to be his people, but people like him don't belong here because you need to be part of our people to be in our country. See how this is all tying in from the beginning of this stream tonight? And several jugs of liquid believed to be gasoline. One of the largest Reform synagogues in the U.S., the FBI, which is leading the investigation, described the attack on one of the nation's largest Reform synagogues, located in suburban West Bloomfield Township, north of Detroit. It's not far from here at all, guys. Like within an hour of where I'm sitting. We'll just leave it at that. Pretty close to where a lot of you live. Shout out to all the Michiganians out there, by the way. As an act of violence targeting the Jewish community. Runyon said that law enforcement didn't have enough evidence to call the attack an act of terror at this time, but said the investigations were ongoing. Really? So the person from the FBI and law enforcement, they don't have enough evidence yet to call this an attack of terror? You can't even make this up. Dude, all of this just sucks on every level. Like all of it. It's just all a you-know-what show. None of the 140 children, teachers, and staff inside the synagogue were injured, authorities said. And that's good. That's good. The agency has not provided an exact motive for the attack. Quote, we're just 30 hours into this, and we're letting the facts and evidence lead, Runyon said. Okay, hold on a minute. They've been investigating this with the force of the FBI. At the time of this article that came out today, they've been investigating for 30 hours, and they have no clue what the possible motivations could be. Oh, man. I'm going to try to finish reading this, but it's getting tough. I'm almost forgetting how to read on the spot here, man. Oh, I mean, are you still watching Midwest Logger? I might need to talk on the phone with you this weekend and see if Midwest Logger can explain this to me, and others too. Maybe some of you. They have no clue. We've only spent 30 hours. We have no clue what the cause of this could possibly be. Oh. Temple Israel is taking steps to prepare for an attack. Last summer, the synagogue announced it was hiring a former local police lieutenant as its full-time head of security to oversee its in-house armed security guards. Earlier this year, its clergy and staff underwent active shooter prevention and preparedness training, according to a post on the Temple Israel's Facebook page. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and U.S. Senator Alyssa Slotkin. Oh boy. Ugh. Good thing I already ate dinner hours ago. These names make me lose my appetite. I mean, really. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and U.S. Senator Alyssa Slotkin during a news conference Friday praised Temple Israel's private security for swiftly stopping the attack. Wait a minute. These are the same people that have been against having armed guards in school. These are the people that won't let you protect yourself at the Michigan Capitol, where you have to forgo your Second Amendment protected right to exercise your First Amendment protected right. I did a video almost 3 years ago now with Michigan Representatives Thompson and Smith talking about this exact topic. The Democrats wanted nothing to do with armed guards at school. They wanted nothing to do with protecting our children. And they still don't want to protect you or your children. But when it comes to a synagogue, when it comes to a temple, when it comes to these certain types of people, now we've got literally Gretchen Whitmer and Alyssa Slotkin are on board. They praise Temple Israel's private security. How come these people are only praising Temple Israel? Why won't they praise our country? Why won't they praise our Second Amendment? Why won't they praise the Christian school armed security? Why won't they praise the public school armed security? No, they're doing everything they can to block the security everywhere else, but they're going to praise it no matter what. The Temple Israel. There he is, man. What's happening, dude? My schedule's all over the place. Send me a text. Let me know when you're not busy. I would like to talk to you, though, for real. You don't literally have to explain all this to me, man. I get it. Like, I'd like to see you again, man. I miss you is what I'm trying to say. No, look, it doesn't matter. All tapped out, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you'd go to jail for this. It just doesn't matter, man. When it comes to this certain specific topic, it's the only thing that matters right now to so many people. And I don't even have hatred towards these people. That's not even it. I hate evil, but I try my hardest not to hate people, actually. Like, I'm not perfect. I'll feel hatred building in my heart sometimes here and there, you know? But I try to get rid of that and try to remain strong against it. It just sucks that everybody hates me, hates you. Yeah. Bobos, not for thee. I mean, look, I'm just saying, dude. I'm trying to read these quotes. Yes, I'm giving my opinion because this is what I do on this channel, but what's happened to Mike McClune? Look. You know what I'm saying, Deb said? Well, man, there's lots of nice people in this chat tonight. No, I hear you. That's a good way of wording it, right? He says, I'm prejudiced to my culture, but not hateful. And here's the thing, guys, like big time. That's why I try to make it clear, like, dude, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. When I say, like, he's a good person, I mean that in a colloquial way. Dude, I'm trying my best. I am not a good person. Jesus is good. God is good. I'm not. I'm the type of person that almost loves to hate more than I should. I'm just being honest with all of you. Not that I need to confess to you all of my sins, but while we're being honest tonight about a lot of things, there's certain things, man, that I love to hate. And that's not a good thing about me. But here's the deal, man. Look, I've not been hateful towards any types of people on the stream tonight at all. Trying my hardest to be a good boy. I just want to know why these same exact people have said they would no matter what. Dude, I've had sitting current legislators in videos on my channel to try to keep all of you guys motivated. We're fighting the good fight at the Capitol. We're doing what we can together. And they're like, we don't want to be protected like that here. Look at them. They're both very influential, prominent Michigan State representatives. Speaker Pro Tem Smith, my favorite representative, Jamie Thompson, did a whole video about this. They pushed as hard as they could. They wanted armed guards in the schools to save our beautiful children. They said no. They did everything they could to stop it. Now these Democrats, two of the most powerful Democrats in Whitmer and Slotkin in the state of Michigan, they're praising this. Like, this is like, I'm not trying to make too big of a deal about this, but this is like, this just shows you what a sea change we have. This is literally a paradigm shift right now. They're praising the private security of the Israel temple, but no matter what, they won't let people enjoy the Second Amendment, protect themselves in all these other places. My daughter's homeschooled now. The Christian school she went to before did not have armed guards in it at all. I think Jesus loves all of his beautiful children. But he doesn't just love the little Jews. He loves the little Christians too, doesn't he? Doesn't he even love the ones that don't believe in him at all, actually? But he loves these specific types so much more that they, according to Whitmer and Slotkin, they're praised for armed security. Everyone else is condemned for it, could be arrested for it. What's up, Washburn Billy? How you doing, man? I had a feeling I'm not alone. Some of this stuff just needs to be talked about, man. And some of you guys might not even agree with half of what I said tonight, but I hope you still all enjoy us talking together. Now, I'm going to keep going. What's happening, Killer Camp Fu? How you doing, man? Usually on the replay crew and usually one of my best commenters. What's happening, Barney Brady? Nice to see you, man. Drain the swamp. There's some good old Michigan boys in the house tonight. Look, shout out to everyone that's not in Michigan as well, you know. But I'm going to give just a little bit bigger shout out to my Michigan people. I mean, while we're being, you know, we're stereotyping. There's God's chosen people. I'm just saying, 2A EDU's chosen people. The Michigan people, shout out. No, shout out to everybody who's watching tonight. Right, Barney Brady? Where's Harry Grimley? I saw him in here hanging out. It's always good to see this guy. Isn't he a good dude? You know what I'm saying? You guys know these people in this chat. What's happening, Dale? How you doing, man? N8IWS left a, member for 58 months. Wow, dude. Thanks for being here this long, and thanks for being such a long-time supporter. He says, yep, still here. There you are. I'm going to finish talking about this one dude. I mean, wow. Oh, yeah. Jesus flipped the table. Fashioned a whip. Oh, what's happening, dude? For real. You know what I'm saying, Ron Wayne? This is not good. All right. Oh, Vince. Wow, what's happening, Vince Metzger? How you doing, man? Oh, Jesus is Lord over the 2A EDU channel. Absolutely. Dude, I'm just like a speck in the sand, but here's the crazy part, right? Jesus literally can count every piece of sand on the beach. And did you know that he knew every hair on my head and had them all counted before I was even born? Now, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Mike McClune, member for 56 months. You were close enough, Mike. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to finish this article. I'm just so disgusted over this Whitmer and Slotkin and this stuff they just said. I'm just trying to hang out with my friends for 2 seconds. Calming down, you know, like I just want to hang out with my friends for 2 seconds. Dude, I read that quote and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? What do you guys think? Can we say that Mike and Dale are virtually tied? Look, I don't want to take anything away from Dale. I ain't taking nothing away from you, Dale. You know we're friends. But look, can we say, look, Dale 58 months, Mike's 56 months? I'm going to leave it up to the chat. Can we say they're tied? All right, let's get back to this article. I'm trying to get in your corner, Mike. We'll see what they say. Let's get a couple answers here. All right. Quote, if they had not all done their jobs almost perfectly, we would be talking about immense tragedy here with children gone, end quote, Slotkin said. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying here, guys. I hope I was pretty clear. I want the beautiful children in the synagogue to be protected by brave, strong men with guns, obviously. I believe that all children are a beautiful thing. Some grow up to be not so good. Some are maybe a little better than others. But children, though, that are under attack in so many ways in this country right now. Islands and wars and schools and people trying to, settle holy war beefs from across the world. Ghazali lived in a single-story brick house in the Detroit suburb of Dearborn Heights, about 38 miles, 61 kilometers south of the synagogue. Look how shocked I am. That's where he was from. On Friday, the front window was boarded. The front door was padlocked. And an Amazon package addressed to Ghazali sat on the porch. Quote, in the 4 years I lived here, we never really got past pleasantries, said Shadi Zarik, who lives 2 doors down. I just want my country back. Jeez, oh Pete. We all got acquainted with him in the last 24 hours. Ghazali came to the U.S. in 2011. See, here we go. On an immediate relative visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen and was granted U.S. citizenship in 2016, according to the Department of Homeland Security. His family was killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon, officials say. An Israeli airstrike on March 5th killed 4 people in the town of Mashgaraha, Lebanese officials reported. Israel has stepped up attacks on the Iranian-backed militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon as the war with Iran has spread violence across the Middle East. A local official in Mashgaraha, told the AP on Friday that the airstrike killed Ghazali's 2 brothers, a niece, and a nephew at their home just after sunset as they were having their fast-breaking meal during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Keep this in mind. This is going on during Ramadan right now. This is going on during Lent right now. Lots and lots of conflicting things going on right now. The official, who requested anonymity because he could not publicly discuss details of the airstrike, told the AP that Qasim and Ibrahim Ghazali were killed, along with Ibrahim Ghazali's children, Ali and Fatima. Their mother was seriously wounded and remains in the hospital, the official said. So, Israel kills his people, allegedly. He's going to come in and he's going after the Jews. So, that's that's what's being reported. Gretchen Whitmer and Alyssa Slotkin are very happy that these particular people are being protected by men with guns. They just don't want you to be protected with guns. A Michigan mosque held a service for his relatives. Wait, we were talking about a synagogue? Now we're going to talk about a mosque. Look, Judaism and Islamism, those are also not the same religion, by the way, too, obviously. Dearborn Heights and his larger neighbor, Dearbornistan, have some of the largest populations of Arab Americans in the U.S. Signs of the culture are everywhere, from restaurants to mosques. Dearborn Heights Mayor Mo Baidoun spoke to reporters Friday about Ghazali's losing family members overseas. Quote, the grief is real and it's heartbreaking, Baidoun said. But there is never an excuse for violence, especially violence directed at a sacred space. Osama Siblani, publisher of the Arab American News in Dearborn, said it's common to hold a memorial service in the U.S. for anyone who died overseas. Quote, sharing feelings always gives you comfort, whether in bad times or good times. You don't feel like you're alone, quote, Sablani said. A flyer last weekend promoted a service for Ghazali's relatives at the Islamic Institute of America in Dearborn Heights. At least they have the word America in there. These people are American as apple pie. Just think about that. I just think about that, man. I think about apple pie, American baseball, hot dogs, and the Islamic Institute of America. Let's go. Ugh. The mosque leader, Imam Hassan Qazwini. I told you there's something about you can't pronounce any of their names. I'm just waiting for John Smith to appear in this article. Weight in one hand and poop in the other in this case. See what adds up faster. The mosque leader, Imam Hassan Qazwini, said Friday, I'm trying to say this. His name's Qazwini. Said Friday he had seen Ghazi only once. He strongly condemned the synagogue attack, saying house of worship should be spared from political violence. Which I agree. I don't want to see kids killed anywhere like this. Islam forbids holding innocent people accountable for acts done by others, Qazwini said in a text message to an AP reporter. The, quote, unjustified Israeli attack on civilians in Iran and Lebanon gives no blank check to anyone attacking synagogues, civilians, and peaceful communities. So there you go. The Muslims are chiming in on it as well. Let's see here. Rudd says, I will say Judaism isn't inherently incompatible, but nearly there. Hinduism, I agree, not compatible. Look, and this is stuff for you guys to think about because we all have opinions. I was just trying to assert as a matter of fact. Now, a lot of things are my opinion in a stream like this, but like I was just trying to get it out there earlier. Like I just wanted to start with something that should be real simple. Judaism, Christianity, not same thing. And then we can start going into, well, this one's a little more compatible with that one. And rightfully so, you may say, well, hey, my neighbor's a Jewish dude. And, you know, he's a good dude. And we don't fight. We're not trying to have crusades against each other or holy wars or build temples or anything. Because, you know, I do think there'd be something to bringing the Crusaders back. But I just don't want to indiscriminately go after every last person. Just most of them would probably be plenty enough, right? But no, it's just that whole thing where it's just there's something about all this. Netanyahu, the chosen one. Okay, let me go through here. This article's it's almost over. Synagogues and other houses of worship on edge since Iran war. Synagogues around the world have been ramping up security since the U.S. and Israel launched missile strikes against Iran on February 28th. At Temple Israel, security officer was hit by the vehicle, knocked unconscious, but did not suffer life-threatening injuries. Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard said, and 63 law enforcement officers were treated for smoke inhalation. More than 600 law enforcement officers responded to the 911 calls on Thursday. 600. Now, I get it, but besides this synagogue, has anyone ever heard of 600 cop cars arriving to something? I mean, hold on a minute. No, what about that last Christian church that did 600 show up? Man, I don't know. I'll have to do some more research later. That sounds like more police showing up to one building than I can remember since they killed all the women and children in Waco, Texas. 600? I mean, wow. That's just a lot. I'm just kind of curious as I'm reading this in real time. Why did they send that many cops there? Oakland County is Michigan's second largest county with roughly 1.3 million people. The majority of Detroit area Jewish residents live there. Oh, okay. I should have kept reading. That kind of answers why there were so many cops that came there. The majority of Detroit area Jewish residents live there. Duh. Temple Israel has 12,000 members according to its website. The attack was the second at a house of worship in Michigan within the past year. Last September, a former Marine fatally shot 4 people at a church north of Detroit and set it ablaze. Yeah, but there was like not nearly that many cops that showed up to that one, though. I mean, for whatever reason. I'm sure, just randomly reasons. The FBI later said he was motivated by anti-religious beliefs against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And look, I'm also not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm just saying for one reason or another, there was just a lot more power overwhelming show of force of law enforcement at one than the other. And I have no dog in this fight because I'm just as equally not LDS as I'm equally not a Jew. What's happening, Wolf, Wolves, Wolf? It sounded like I was having a stroke. Maybe I was imitating somebody, right? It's the guts, obviously. What's up, Ego Riser? Nice to see you. Well, I think we covered a lot tonight. I think we had a pretty good talk. What do you guys think? I'm going to be putting out additional content over on Locals this weekend, so I hope to see you guys there. I might even be able to do a few gun reviews coming up because this channel has been in big trouble for 3 months, this close to being off. And I think, well, I'll have to wait till this stream's over. I'm not even going to jinx it, but maybe there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel for that soon. But I don't know, man. Like, I know it's like, I keep being told, again, by a lot of my Christian friends, it's God's chosen people. I know it's now Slotkin and Whitmer's chosen people. King Netanyahu, the King of Kings, check. And I just have to figure out when this stream's on. Are these YouTube's chosen people too? Ooh, I didn't even think about that. So right as I was about to say, this channel might be getting out of hock a little bit. Ooh, are these YouTube's chosen people? Don't know. Can't say. Bobo's Wald 69 says, keep up the good work too, Edu, and God bless. Well, I appreciate the encouragement, and God bless you as well. Dude, as soon as you can get to your free state. Dude, I'm so happy for you guys, man. I know you're probably thinking, dude, you don't know the headaches right now and all this. I know, but like, look, if the move's like a pain in the butt and it's going poorly, it's just because I'm ignorant to it. But I'm happy for you, man. Congratulations, blessings. You know what I'm saying, Red? I kind of say this with a bated breath because I know just like moving at all is like this kind of like nightmare. But I'm happy for you. I think this is going to be a really good thing. I know, dude. I think I'm going to go make myself a ham sandwich later. You know what I mean? I am in the mood for some ham. I think I want a ham sandwich with some bacon on it. And she's kind of a lightweight. She goes to bed early. No, she wakes up super early. But if my lovely wife's watching, I'm going to waltz in the door tomorrow and be like, woman, I want some pork chops, some ham, and some bacon. I have no idea why. Just for some reason, just talking about all this stuff tonight is getting me in the mood to eat some pork, the other right meat, eat from the cloven hoof. You know what I mean? Oh boy, I'm getting spicy tonight. That's fighting words in some place. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Aloha Snack Bar walking in his room and saying, woman, wife, chosen wife, I want me some pork chop, some bacon. No, not so much. I just figured out what's going on. I just did, man. I was thinking about Netanyahu and we need to fight his war. And dude, now they're all pissed at us because bacon is good. You know how mad they are? They can't have that. They can't have it. I'm just saying. Nah, I'm just having fun right now. I'm being a little bit mean, but I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like, she made some pork stir fry. It was good. I do have some ham lunch meat over there right now at my shop. I'm just saying. I know I'm not being so nice. I mean, look, I'm being not so nice in a friendly way. You're welcome, Ron Wayne. Take it easy, man. Nice to see you tonight. Well, I mean, I'm going to go buy me some pork rinds, some pickled pig's feet. Man, I'm thinking about all this right now. God bless you, Washburn Billy. Take it easy, man. No, we do need to stick together, actually. That's very important. Now, hold on a minute. Harry Grimley had him some ham and au gratin potatoes today. Nice. That sounds good. Man, you guys are making me hungry, dude. Do you know how hungry I am right now? Like, I'm not joking. There's ham lunch meat right over there, like 20 feet away. I'm just saying goodnight to some of you. You guys are kind of fun sometimes. Have I ever told you that? Midwest Lager. Dang, I have a big ham steak. I think I'll have it for breakfast. Nice. There's someone out there that's fixing to get themselves a can of Spam out right now. I know there is. That are the Vienna sausages. I just want everybody to get in the festivities, even if you're poor. Maybe a little Smokies. You know what I'm saying? We can go for that. Sausage gravy. Yeah, don't let me forget about that. May have to settle for Taco Bell again. I know. Now, Taco Bell's closed right now. Taco Bell is good, though. What's up, Randy Smith? Nice to see you, man. Ooh. Good night, Vince. I started all this, dude. I totally started it. I'm like, man, I want some pork chop. Like Ron saying, pork chop wrapped and ham wrapped in bacon. Yes. BLT. What's happening, Jim? How you doing, man? Dude, BLT sounds like really, really good. Look at these guys coming in at the very end here. Maybe you guys were in the whole night. I just was kind of trying to stay focused on these kind of deep topics, you know. But I'll read the chat afterwards. Jim Falcone is in the house. We also have, I saw G23. Where's he at? We can't let this guy sneak out of here. I like G23. G23 reviews. There he is. What's happening, man? How you doing? Shout out to the G23 channel, by the way. Have a great night, dude named Red. He's wishing all of you guys an awesome night and stay blessed. Hard times create strong men. I know. Good times create weak men. But I think we've kind of had too many weak men for too long in this country, and things aren't so good. So I think we're about ready to start on that good side of the circle where strong men are going to start making good times again. I really do. I'm optimistic. I am definitely optimistic. There she is. Rosie, what's happening, Rosie? How you doing? Thanks for being a channel member. March 14th should be known as Pork Day, as our silent protest. That's the problem. You just piss all of them off over there when you do that. That's just it. You know what I mean? That's it. They're all mad. Dude, my gas prices are $5-6 diesel, you know, right now and stuff. It's like, come on, I'm a little bit mad. Vince is like, now even I'm hungry. Come on, dude. Tell me about it. I'm getting really, really hungry. I'm going to jump off in just 1 second here. Microwavable bacon. That's good to go. That's good. I like that. Wolf, carry on. You too, good sir. Nice to see you tonight. Drain the swamp. Have a good night, man. He says, good night, everyone. Remember, live each day as it's your last day. That's true. That's true. And I would add to that, every breath that you take is a gift from God. We should be very thankful for that. Very grateful. We have a lot to be grateful about. A lot. Washburn Billy, I buy beef, not pork. Dude, I like beef too, man. I just had some, well, it might be why I'm a bit on the portly side and I lack discipline sometimes with the way I eat. My wife's a pretty good cook. Not only did she make pork stir fry, but shortly thereafter, beef pot roast. I'm a meat eater. I like beef too. I like vegetables. I like meat. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. I don't know why. It's just out of the blue. Because here's the thing. Ego Riser. I had some salmon and rice. That sounds really good too, man. There's beef. There's chicken. All these good foods. And as I was getting hungry tonight, and I don't know why, maybe someone can answer this for me later. I just started having a hankering for some pork. I don't know why that would come to mind. Nothing like that. I'm just like, man, ham sandwich, pork chop, pork rinds. I didn't see any takers on the pickled pig's feet when I threw that out there, did I? That's all right. I'll keep all the pickled pig's feet to myself. Look, Dale, I'm going to keep all the pickled pig feet to myself. He says BLT from Tony's is a BLT. Now I'm going to have to look that up. I've been trying to lose a couple pounds for spring here. I'm just saying, you guys are making it tough for me. Boss for Billy, I'm not hating, buddy. I'm not a picture of health. No, I didn't think you were. Oh, you just reminded me. I'm like, yeah, dude. My old lady made some beef pot roast that was to die for, too. Trust me. She's a good cook. I don't need to tell you guys this, right? I mean, come on. We're going to leave on a friendly note tonight. Look at me, guys. Is it hard to believe that my wife's a good cook? I mean, you know. Hey, as I tell some of the haters, hey, it's all paid for, though. At least it's all paid for. None of you guys bought it. I don't get food stamps. That was all. What's up, Paul Bennett? How you doing, man? And thanks for being a channel member. All tapped out. Another great stream tonight. God bless everyone and stay safe. Well, thank you, and God bless you as well. Harry Grumley just got home. Got a cuddle with my wife. Go for it, dude. And he says, good night, everyone. Stay safe and stay strong. I will see you later. Get the heck out of here, man. You'd way rather hang out with your wife after working all day than me. Deb Sidwell says, ham, Gouda cheese, pretzel, buns, lettuce, onion, tomato, and mustard. Man. All right, that's it. Deb did it. You guys can blame her. No, we've already done a long enough stream. It's been 2.5 hours, but she just crossed the line. I'm so hungry right now. I literally am not going to hold out much longer. You guys can see I'm withering away. You can see that, yeah, Jim, try some fried bologna. That actually sounds pretty darn good, too. Hot dog, non-kosher hot dog. I'm going to eat non-kosher dills, everything tonight. I'm just going to splurge and eat. And I'm not going to be gluttonous. Don't worry, guys. But you guys are all just doing me in right now. Like, mentioning all these different versions of, yeah, for some reason, it just occurred to me. I'm going to go eat a non-kosher dill pickle. Eric Johansson, or Johansson, however you pronounce it, says Jesus entered the old covenant because of that. Yeah. No, I've done a lot of research on the Pharisees killing him. The new covenant with Jesus is clear. All who follow him are Israel. Israel is not a place, but a state of grace. And look, we talked about this a lot tonight, and that's why I'm just so frustrated with this Netanyahu and just all of this. It's just, I want to leave on a positive note. So cook them if you've got them. Fried bologna, ham steak. Hang out with Washburn Billy and make a real beef steak, because that's actually really good too. Ego Riser, go have some salmon. You know, you guys can all hang out together. But either way, I am definitely going to have some kosher-free guarantee. And, ooh, carnita tacos. Good night, everybody. See what you're doing to me, Rosie? I love Mexican food, or at least the American version of Mexican food. But you know what I'm saying? Dude, love Mexican food. Like, so bad. That last dude nailed it. I know. He should have been the one doing this stream. No, I mean, really, though. I should just quit this channel. This guy should have been doing this stream right there. I just wanted to get this topic out there. I know now to find a 20-hour grocery store. Not Walmart, not Meijer. All right, guys. Good to see all of you. And with that, I am out of here. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.